it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back. Got a pretty good replay here coming at you from Metallica 774 from Cartel. He's platooned with Dr. Schwartz here on Live Oaks. They've spawned into the northeast. And he's driving his Achilles Tier 6 British TD. American design TD. Achilles is the name that the Brits gave to it. They may have modified it actually a little bit along the way. They tended to do that with a lot of equipment, put their guns on it and some other things. But he immediately goes up to the middle here and he's hanging out near this bush. He's got a 1375 trolling around, trying to scout the middle. There's a couple buildings there now that weren't there for a while ago. He's able to punish that guy a little bit and off he goes. Actually, he didn't do any damage, but his buddy did. I may have investigated that a little bit more there, Metallica, but what you're going to find from this game, everybody, is that Metallica is extremely careful. So he's bottom tier in a 357. And he's going to play an extremely careful game. And this is one of those games where people will say, I'm a support tank. I'm going to be second line support. And most of the time when people say that, they have no idea what exactly that means or how you make that effective. If you're going to be second line of support, the way you make that effective is you keep your gun in the game. One of the problems with second line support is dead times like this, depending on the map, the deployment, and what's going on. Sometimes it's difficult to find any shots if you're not in the right spot. This is not necessarily the wrong spot. It's actually a pretty good spot. But there's just no shots. So there's a long periods here where his gun is in the game. But let's take a look and see how this careful gameplay pans out for him, though. He's got all kinds of shot on these guys. This 1375 is a bit of a thorn in his side. He gets a shot and a shot. I would have followed that up with one more shot there, Metallica. Try to follow where he was going. You might have got the kill on that guy. I think that actually hits him. Taking a look at the damage at the end of it is pretty good. So they've got a pretty good stack there along the edge. Metallica's team has won the city, but you'll notice down in the southeast that they're not doing so hot down there. Let's talk about positioning then. I said he's going to play a careful game. He takes up a kind of support position, a fairly classic TD position for this map. And this is a bummer here. This guy just gets away from him for a while. Positioning-wise, where would I probably have taken this tank myself? I probably would have gone down to the tracks. Now, would I have died down there potentially? I don't know. Maybe. It looks like his team's getting pushed back, and to include his platoon mate, quick note on that, I'm not really sure why they're not working together, but whether they have... I'm pretty sure it's not a dynamic platoon. I did check the beginning of the recording, so it doesn't look to be one. It may have been a dynamic from some other time or just a friend or somebody on his friends list, whatever. So point of all that is they may not have voice comms and they're just kind of playing in the same vicinity of each other. Part of the strength of a platoon is that you work together, so it'll be interesting to see if Metallica drops in the comments section exactly what was going on there. It may have been a conscious decision. For whatever reason, they decided two different spots were the way to go. I'll leave that up to Metallica if he wants to fill us in on that. But he's got the WZ running away. Pretty big gun. The 25-2 is lurking around. There's still an AT-15. And there is a good force pushing from his team. But watch what ends up happening here. It's looking pretty good. His team is threatened over on the east side. We got a Rev kind of trolling around. Just barely poking up over that ridge line right there, giving him shots every once in a while. Another shot that misses. I think he puts one in. Yeah, tries to put one in there. So I really think Metallica here, I probably would have flexed back to help clean up the guys that are going at the cap. This is something I've talked about a couple times lately. Why bring the WZ-120 and 25/2's guns into the game when you could have all turned back around and cleaned up their guys pushing onto your cap or up into your corner there? As it turns out, Metallica's team gets absolutely massacred up there. There goes one. Proto's down. Chiri is trolling around in there. One of the things about the Achilles is it does have a fast-firing gun, but it's the standard British gun. It takes forever to knock things down to zero. Get a couple ridge shots on this guy. He's just poking up and over. That was a good one. I would have done that too. See if we can get one in. And you'll note that he's being very, very careful, right? So he's not really pushed in. He's bottom tier. He's doing the support thing. For the most part, he's found shots, and he's moved up forward to where the shots are, right? He's not still sitting up on that hill. Although potentially that hill may have helped out taking some more shots onto the guys trolling around down there towards his cap. There goes their M44. That was a good kill. And now he's only down to 2 buddies. There's just a WZ there, and that WZ seems to be having a heyday against these guys attempting to push in. One of the problems with trying to fight up out of this hole is what this Rev is learning right now. Oh man, 2 hit points. It's very difficult to fight down in there. You have this whole ridge where we got Metallica all along the edge of this swamp, and trying to come up out of this swamp when there's any kind of enemies around the edges of it is very hard. The same thing would apply to Metallica if he was getting spotted, but right now he knows he doesn't have a really big chance of it. The biggest concern, I think, is that T26E5. Obviously, pushing into the WZ is a bad idea, which is what these 2 guys are doing down there in the southwest. But that T26E5 is also a big concern. So Metallica's going to come up here. And he's finally making a bit of a bold move. Down goes the T28 HTC, and out of all those tanks taking on that WZ, we have just the KV2 finally gets a lick in. Actually, that may have been artillery that hit him because he's stunned. And now we've got some shots. I'll put one down there, I think. Yep, there we go. It looks like it hit the ground or the wall there, so I'm not sure it did anything. Couple 3 shots in there, and now he's got to start being a little bit worried about his ammo, actually, based on the amount of shooting he's done. Taking a look at that, you'll notice that he's carrying 10 HE. I probably would get rid of at least 6 of those HE Metallica. Really not needed. This tank is interesting. It is a little bit ammo limited, although he has been firing a lot in this game. But that's what you'll get with these smaller guns that reload fast, especially in a higher tier game where you're doing a lot of bouncing. You may find yourself having trouble with the ammo. KV2's there, and then finally we spot this 100% T26E5 who has been doing I don't know what. Could have easily pushed into his cap and cleaned up pretty much everything up there. Now the SU thing, the 100 M1, is actually a fairly capable TD, even at tier 7. Kind of some troll armor, a really good gun for a tier 7 TD, so he may have been putting the fear into the 26E5, and there goes the KV2. So all those guys that were pushing into the cap, the enemy cap, basically brought that WZ's gun online such that it ate them all alive. T26E5, there we go. This guy's making a run for it. Metallica's going to put a shot or 2. Gets one in, another one in. So those were big hits. That was good. Kind of surprised you didn't get spotted right there, but I guess the WZ has pretty bad spotting as a TD, and that T26 was not around the corner. Looks like we're holding our shot here. Probably wise. And down he goes. So here's the little stealthy ninja Metallica right here. Only problem with that, not really a problem, but the bummer, I guess, would be a better way to say it, is your players are really busy over there trying to take out this Rev. They finally get a shot over there, and that looks like it was the artillery, so that's good. You're able to put a little damage on him. And you didn't let him know that you're there. If he's got 6th sense, he knows somebody's spotting him. And this is a kind of exposed position. The WZ is maybe up near the tracks. You're on this big flat area here. You got the T26 pushing into the middle, which was a big mistake on his part. This guy's not really very good. And now things are looking a lot better. The Rev goes down, so that opens up that side of the map quite a bit. The WZ is somewhere over there. Whether he went down the tracks or is sitting up on those that little ridge right there is hard to tell. This guy's in bushes behind trees. We're actually behind the bush. I'll tell you what, Metallica, I probably would have backed up to 15 feet behind this bush once I got a sight on him and started hitting him, because I don't think he'd have been spotted in that case. As it is, he backs up a little bit, and we're finally going to get spotted when that second shot did it, I think. And this guy's just not very good. I mean, he misses. I don't know if he's a bot or running on 8,000 FPS or what it is. He gets farmed completely down in the pit. Now Metallica's making a run for it. Doesn't want to get blapped by that WZ-120. And he's using his gold now because he's run out of regular AP. He spent the whole time shooting AP, and now he's just doing the gold thing, which is not a bad technique because at the end of the game, especially in a close-ish in this case, but at the end of a game where you're attempting to win the game, a lot of times it's nice to have that gold around. If you've burned through all your AP, your regular ammo, just that little edge you might need. He's certainly going to need it against the WZ-120. And it looks like the 1357's jumped all over that guy, and down he goes. You'll notice right at the end that Metallica avoids going through the cap circle, just to not give that SA to the WZ in case he lived. No reason to let him know that, hey, I'm coming from that direction. I'm over at the cap circle. But it looks like the 1357 obviously doesn't look like it. He definitely killed the WZ. So 2 kills, 2,278 damage, 769 spotting. That was a long replay, but it's a good example of second line support tanking in this game, which means keeping your gun in the game. Couple dead spots. Not super excited about the initial position, but I completely understand why he went there, and he was very effective doing so. I think maybe he could have helped over on the east side, and that situation maybe would not have developed still. It was a T-26 E5, a Rev, and a couple other things, and a hit or two from those guys, and he's basically out of the game. So pretty nice job overall, man. I wanted to feature this for everybody to give you that kind of tier 6 gameplay in a 3-5-7. That's one of the more miserable spots, being a tier 6 against 3-8s and 3-7s, much like the tier 10 problem of 3-10s, 3 or 5-9s, and 7-8s when you're playing tier 8. It's very similar. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Hope you like what you saw. Hope you learned something, more importantly. And if you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will see you.